Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and this time I'm reviewing a film that actually a good friend of mine, Michael Keane, just reviewed. I know he's a fan of this film, and I was planning to review this. He beat me to it, but that is, of course, C.H.U.D, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. C.H.U.D, from 1984. Directed by a guy named Douglas Cheek, which he didn't go on to do much. He mainly, I guess he edits certain documentaries. Didn't really direct much after this, but again, sort of became an editor of stuff, mainly documentaries. The story was by Shepard Abbott, which I don't think he's done anything since, which is too bad. Screenplay was by Parnell Hall, who I think he was a guy who wrote mystery novels of some sort. But the cast, I mean, you got John Hurd, of course, right there, John Hurd, who was the dad in Home Alone. And weirdly enough, you got Daniel Stern, who was also in Home Alone. Then you have Christopher Curry and Kim Greist, or Greist. But C.H.U.D, this is one of those films I grew up with. I think I first saw this film on VHS, and this is the inside that I have. I know Michael Keane's DVD for some reason doesn't have this thing. I don't know why, but I know same DVD look, but and the DVD, by the way, it does have features, has a commentary with director Douglas Cheek, writer Shepard Abbott, stars John Hurd, Daniel Stern, and Christopher Curry, a trailer and behind-the-scenes still gallery. It's in widescreen, and this is the director's cut. Or I say director's cut, but it's the extended version, I'll say that. Because the first time I saw it, it was on VHS, and this little piece of film history, well, not really, but back in the day when you used to rent stuff, they would be hanging up, and you take it and go to the counter, they grab it, and okay, here's a video you want to rent. And these were for sale. Like you bought, they had tapes for sale, and I saw this first on VHS. And you tell this is, well, you can't see, but this is 88-minute version, but the DVD is 96 minutes. And when I first saw it on VHS, I liked it alright. I just wasn't a big fan of the ending, but because it was like a sequel bait ending. But I did not know that was not the intention of the movie. And so when I got this DVD, because I'm like, hey, I like C.H.U.D, you know, I'll get it on DVD. I didn't know this was a different version, and the better version. This is the version to get. But before I get into that, the plot of the movie basically takes place in New York, where homeless people start disappearing. And at the beginning, you have a woman walking her dog, and she gets taken from something in the sewers. And pretty much after that, you have a group of people that we're introduced to. We have John Hurd, who's a photographer, who is doing photography for a guy trying to do a story on the homeless. But he's just a photographer. He's made friends with some of the homeless people who live underground. And he is with a girl played by Kim Greist, which there's a subplot that was not in the original, well, it wasn't in the theatrical cut, but it's put back in, a little subplot where she's actually pregnant. But you have those characters. Then you have Daniel Stern, who's a very fun character, the Reverend. He's pretty much the cook of a soup kitchen. And he's also realizing a lot of his friends and customers are disappearing, especially the people who live underground. And then you have Christopher Curry, who's a cop, who's looking into these disappearances, especially since the first girl that we saw at the beginning of this movie was his wife, who has disappeared. So basically, it's these people sort of, Daniel Stern, Christopher Curry going in this investigation while John Hurd is talking with the people in the homeless, talking with his woman, and basically it gets to an end where it all comes to a head, so to speak. And basically Daniel Stern and Christopher Curry doing their investigation, they realize something's up. There's a certain cover-up, certain officials, like some of them know something that they're not saying. Daniel Stern talks about how like EPA or something does these probes, and usually they only take 1 week, but now it's taking like a month, and there's a certain connection to it, and basically they're trying to investigate. Then they try to find stories for people who are underground, which leads to John Hurd, a guy who's taking photographs of those folks. And then you realize that C.H.U.D actually stands for something else. The official story is Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, but there's actually the real reason for C.H.U.D, which I'll probably talk about at the end of the review, that gets into what's really going on. But, you know, basically these homeless people are turning into these certain creatures. And that's all I'll say until I get to the ending, spoil some stuff. But why I love this movie is I think it's a film that I just had a troubled production. The commentary is very fun. It's a very funny commentary. They made fun of the film too much, though, which, you know, kind of bothers me considering I am actually a fan of this film. Because I think the script, or I guess a lot of it was ad-lib, but I thought they did a great job. I thought the film had better dialogue than you'd usually see in a film like this. I thought it was funny at times. Like John Hurd is saved by Daniel Stern, and he's like, "Who are you?" "Oh, I'm a Reverend. I run the soup kitchen." And John Hurd's like, "Thank God they deliver." I thought they had some funny dialogue exchanges, and it kind of, for some reason, reminds me of Alligator. What I mean by that is that it takes place in an environment, and this would be in New York, where, you know, they film underground and sewers, and it's grimy, and it's wet streets, and there's garbage on the streets, and has a certain look to it that makes it feel more real. As stupid as it may seem, like an Alligator movie or a C.H.U.D movie, but the way it's shot and the way the locations have a certain certain substance to them, or certain feeling to them, that just makes it more real, or I don't know how to put it. Doesn't look clean cut, doesn't look like a Hollywood production. I don't know. Alligator with Robert Forster in this kind of has that same grimy look, which I liked. I liked that look of the film. I thought the cast did a great job. I think everybody did a great job, especially the 3 main stars. John Hurd, Daniel Stern, Christopher Curry, I think they were all excellent. I have no problems with them. They're all likable. My favorite would probably be Daniel Stern, but I really like John Hurd. I really like all 3 of these guys. I thought Kim Rice, she did fine. I mean, she did alright. I know some people on the commentary, they make fun of the design of the monsters because they thought it'd be just, you know, humans with, like, sharp teeth, like, not monsters. But I like the monsters. I like the look of the monsters. I think it's pretty damn decent practical special effects. I like the look of the monsters. I thought it made it more memorable. And this film has definitely gotten some kind of cult status because you see references to this film a lot. For instance, Robot Chicken did a reference to this. Instead of Chips, the TV show Chips, it's Chuds. The Simpsons mentioned C.H.U.D quite a few times. I don't know if it's because one of the writers or something is David Stern, who I think is the brother of Daniel Stern. And David Stern worked behind the scenes somehow in this. Maybe that's why, but like when Homer Simpson goes to New York, or he talks about New York, he usually mentions C.H.U.D. It's like the episode where him and his family go to New York. There's a certain scene where, like, I think that's the one where he falls and there's like Morlocks or something, and there's C.H.U.Ds, or there's a line dialogue. It's like, well, yeah, you know, you gotta be afraid of New York, except for the pimps and the C.H.U.Ds, or there's something like that. I'm sure you can find, type Simpsons and C.H.U.D, you could probably find it on YouTube. But there's a lot of references to C.H.U.D. And I think at one time, like on the Donnie Darko commentary with Kevin Smith and the director, I think Kevin Smith at one time mentioned that one of his friends was going to do a remake of C.H.U.D. Like, if you listen to Donnie Darko commentary, you'll know what I mean. But I like the look of the film. I like the actors in the film. I think the film went at a good pace. I like the look of the monsters. I like the exchanges of dialogue. A lot of like character actors that you recognize. And like I know I've seen this guy before, like Eddie Jones, and I think it was John Polito. I believe it was the guy's name. A lot of solid grown-up actors in the background. John Goodman is in a small role. Jay Thomas, yeah, John Polito. A lot of actors, that fit the film. And I don't know, I just was entertained. I was fine with the story. I like the way the story went. This version, I love the way it ended. There was no sequel bait ending, which I'll just spoil that. Spoilers, folks. In the original version, there's a scene where John Goodman and this other guy, Jay Thomas, they're cops and they're at this diner, and then the C.H.U.Ds attack. Like the C.H.U.Ds show up, and then later on they see these, there's people that are dead. Well, in the theatrical, they put that to the end, which is weird because in the middle there's still a scene where they're looking at the aftermath of a diner attack, but then the stuff inside the diner is shown at the very end. It's like a sequel bait ending. But then in this, it's put into where it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be in the middle of the film. So the film ends with, no sequel bait ending, which I preferred. I like the way the extended version ends more. There's a few other little things that they added in as well. But I really enjoy... not really a gory movie. I mean, a little bit of bloody aftermath, like John Hurt, Daniel Stern. Like, there were people down there with flamethrowers and stuff, but you get the idea they're dead, and then John Hurt and Daniel Stern find their dead bodies, and, like, they have to get this headset off this disembodied head. And pretty much the third act is John Hurt and Daniel Stern meeting up and trying to escape the sewers because the asshole government officials are gassing the place, and you find out that there's been a big old toxic dump there. And really this is Contamination Hazard Urban Disposal. And some of the officials have their dirty work. So those elements of the homelessness, not being you, I agree with Michael Keane, not being you across the head with it, but bringing it there, as well as the government officials, but they don't beat it into your head. It's still a creature feature monster movie. And granted, there's not tons of action, I'll admit that. It's not like Feast or something like that. But still, it has a charm to it. I was entertained. I like the look of the film. I like the pace of the film. I really like the characters of the film. I think John Hurt, I really like the actors they have in this flick. I like the idea behind the film that the homeless are disappearing. Some of them are turning into these creatures because of what you find out is this disposal going on there. I like the fact it's not a downbeat or sequel bait ending. This version at least. I know Michael Keane has the slipcover one, but I think that's the exact same DVD. Only they re-released it with a slipcover, and mine has this thing in there. But pretty much the features are the same. But I even like the score. It's I like the score. That plays at the opening, and I don't mind the score. I like it. I don't think the creatures look that bad, and either way, it's a very entertaining film. I have not seen C.H.U.D 2, but the C.H.U.D, or yeah, C.H.U.D. I know it has nothing to do with this one, which is stupid, but whatever. But yeah, C.H.U.D, I know it didn't do much when it came out, but entertaining film, entertaining B movie. And I enjoy the flick. So either way, thanks for watching, and take care. Later.